Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and today the update notes for update 14.3 have been released. This is the update that's bringing us the Blucher Dockyard, the Unbreakable Line temporary game mode, on top of several other things. Now, we are not going over the update notes in full in this video. We are instead taking a look at a section that concerns a ship that many of you have probably been waiting to hear more about how to acquire her. A ship that I won't say it's been a hotly anticipated ship, but one that certainly regular viewers of this channel are probably more than interested in. So we're going to talk about her, and we're going to talk about Wargaming's monetization schemes here as of recent. So let's get on into it. So this is a ship that was supposed to apparently release alongside with the Monmouth in update 14.2 as part of the Wishing Wharf event. Now, if you recall, the Wishing Wharf event we had before this with the Incheon was not very well received. A TLDR description of the Wishing Wharf: you take your tokens that you have to buy, toss them into the Wishing Wharf, and you have a chance to roll one of a number of ships. But unlike in containers where you roll a ship that you already have, the game would not instantly re-roll so you can get a ship that you don't have. Instead, you get back tokens that you can use to, toss into the Wishing Wharf once more and get more wishes out of it. Now, we've had the Wishing Wharf in-game before, and before, the tokens that you would receive were a little bit more generous. You could get more rolls out of the ships that you already had. But in the Wishing Wharf event for the Incheon, not so much. Again, if you want a full description of what happened and why the event was terrible, check out the video that was either linked here or beforehand. So the player reaction to that event was not overly fantastic, shall we say. We got an announcement on the Wargaming, on the Warships, I believe, community contributor Discord, where it's clarified that the Wishing Wharf would not be taking place in 14.2, the update that we are getting out of. And the ships, the Monmouth and the Valparaiso, would be distributed through a quote-unquote different method later on. Turns out that the Monmouth, the different method was that, well, she's got released in the Bounty Hunt event, and you could buy her outright in the Armory in an Admiral bundle. And the Monmouth was, of course, a pretty hotly anticipated ship. The ship was announced like 3 friggin' years ago, and we've been waiting for her to come out ever since. Now, the Valparaiso is coming out this update, 14.3. This is the Tier 9 Vanguard that's apparently secondary spec'd, right? So, not exactly a great haul, starting out with, with the Vanguard and saying, okay, we're going to make a secondary Vanguard. Okay, we'll see how that works, right? But a ship that, again, us brawling battleship enjoyers, right? It's like, we always welcome a new one into our ranks, right? Even if they're not great. So it's like, okay, how do we get the Valparaiso? So I was looking through the update notes, and sure enough, yeah, it's getting released in the friggin' Daruma containers. And that's apparently how, it's going to be primarily released into the game. What I mean by this is the event in which it's being released, right? It's not like it was released previously and they're just throwing them in the Daruma containers just for, to add some ships into it that you could potentially get. No, that is the event where the Valparaiso is coming out. Now, the Daruma containers, if you don't know, these are the friggin' Russian nesting doll containers. And what I was afraid was going to happen when they started introducing the gold containers back in the day. By back in the day, I mean, the previous Santa container event where they were introduced, where you could get the Hoffman and such, right? So if you don't know, a golden container was a container that Wargaming started putting in the containers you could get. I believe it was for the previous, the previous Christmas New Year's event that we just got out of a couple of months ago. So what you could do with these golden containers is that if you rolled one of them in your Christmas container, you then had a chance of getting one of these golden ships, which is a premium ship that's already been released or, was being released at the time, but in a fancy golden camo. Chikuma Golden, that was the one that I was thinking about for the Wishing Wharf event. But you could get a Hoffman Golden. I believe you could get the Prince Fan Orange Golden as well. I believe. I could be wrong. But anyway, it was just another version of a premium ship that you could get in other ways in the update as a bonus, right, if you got really, really lucky. And I believe there are some other, things there you could get as well, kind of as a bonus thing, right, if you rolled for one of them in your Christmas container. So it's like, okay, that's all right, Wargaming. It's a little bit of a bonus thing right now, but that's containers inside of containers. I don't like that, right? Don't like the idea of that if they do what they did here. And now the Valparaiso is in the Daruma containers in the second level. So they clarify in the update articles that these containers feature new ships Suzuya and the Valparaiso, as well as Suzuya Golden and ZF6 Golden. So, if you pop on over to the dev blog where we have the drop rates for these containers. Now, granted, this could have changed between now and when the event goes live. As far as I see in the update articles, there is no additional information provided in the update article besides them pointing you back to the dev blog where I'm pulling these numbers out from right now. So I'm assuming these are the numbers, but of course, everything's subject to change right before it gets released. So the red Daruma container, which is the first one, if you will, you have a 15% chance of getting a black Daruma container, a 1% chance of getting a Golden Week perma camo, 1% of a yellow perma camo, 1% of a red golden of a deep red perma camo, then a 20% chance of getting 12 of the special bonuses for each type, right? And then you have a 2% chance of getting a Mutsu, an Issei, a Maya, and a Hyuga, right? So not in the first one. But in the second one, the black Daruma premium container, yeah. It's in here. It's in the 2% chance to receive one of the following ships: the Hayate, the Suzuya, the Valparaiso, and then the ZF6. So, admittedly, in the red Daruma premium container, you do have a 15% chance to get a black Daruma premium container. So, your chances of getting a black container are honestly relatively pretty solid. But of course, not only do you have to roll a black Daruma premium container, you also of course have to roll a 2% chance to get one of the following ships, and then of course one of those following ships is the Valparaiso. Now thankfully it's not in the golden Daruma premium container, so we don't have to go deeper and get that. That's just the ZF6, I'm sorry, the Suzuya Golden and the ZF6 Golden are in there. So yeah, I hate this so much that this is how they're releasing this ship now. Now, you might be saying, well, Sealord, you can just buy the ship outright. Isn't that pretty good? Yes, you can buy the ship outright. But it's only available in an Admiral bundle. Which means that since this is a Tier 9 premium ship, who would normally cost about $77 US, so, pretty much $80 after tax, I can promise you this Admiral bundle will be well north of $120-ish. I think the Tier 9s usually go for somewhere around their 110s, 130s. Again, Wargaming does regional pricing, so your mileage may vary, but obviously it's well more than what you would pay for the ship outright if you were to just buy just the ship. So, your choices for buying the Valparaiso are gamble with the Daruma containers, or pay well over what the ship is worth for a normal tier. I know. I always get the comments like, well, Sealord, you're saying it's fine to buy a ship for $77. I'm saying that's what Wargaming normally charges for a Tier 9 premium ship. Obviously, that's a lot of money, right? But again, the game's free to play. They do have to make money somewhere. I understand that, which is why it's like, yeah, it's $70, but hey, the game's free to play. You can play without spending a single dime. And I don't encourage you to go out and buy every single new friggin' premium ship that comes out. I highly don't encourage that. I encourage you to get the coal ships, the ships you can get for free, the resource ships. And sure, if you want to buy the occasional premium ship, sure, but make sure it's a good one, right? So yeah, just get that out the way there. So it's you're paying more for the ship. Now yes, the Admiral bundles come with a ton of signal flags, credits, a 10-point commander. You are getting your money's worth, right? They make sure that whatever you're paying for in these Admiral bundles, there is a dollar value assigned to that, either by saying, hey, look, if you want to get 2.5 million credits or whatever the bundle comes with, to convert doubloons to that, it's this amount, this dollar amount of doubloons that you have to buy in order to convert into X amount of credits. And, these signals cost yada, yada, yada in the shop for doubloons or whatever. So you are getting what you're paying for, but you're only able to get it in that Admiral bundle, or trying your luck with the Daruma containers. And sure, you could drop $5, $10, $15 on the Daruma containers and get a Valparaiso. You could, absolutely you could. But, on the other hand, you could spend quite a bit of money on the Daruma containers and not get a Valparaiso, because keep in mind, I'm sure they have a pity drop. Let me check if it says that in the development blog, if they what their pity drop is. They should. They actually don't say, from what I'm seeing here. Oh, okay, yeah. The guaranteed drop mechanic for these containers only applies to ships. You are guaranteed to receive a ship after opening 70 containers. That's interesting. So I guess technically you could really get screwed. And I know, like 15%. You have a 15% chance to get a Daruma premium container. Like, mathematically, you should get one. But also, mathematically, there's a chance that some poor sap gets screwed and, like, never gets a black Daruma premium container out of a red Daruma premium container. So that's... But again, like, it's the second high. It has the second highest drop chance in the container. You should probably get more than a few if you start dropping money on this mathematically. But anyway, so for the black Daruma premium containers, the guaranteed drop mechanic for these containers only applies to ships. You're guaranteed to receive a ship after opening 50 containers. So the Suzuya and the Valparaiso are in, obviously, the ships category, with the Hayate and the ZF6. So, yet again, though you could go through 50 of these black Daruma containers, which would probably require God knows how many red Daruma premium containers, and then you could get a Hayate instead of the Suzuya or the Valparaiso. Do it again, you might get a ZF6 instead of the Suzuya or the Valparaiso. And say you want the Valparaiso, you could also get a Suzuya before... You guys get what I'm saying, right? So I'm saying it probably will start to add up pretty fast, which is like, well, okay, then I'll just go ahead and buy it for $100 and something, which, I mean... At the end of the day, I'd rather buy something and get it rather than, gamble away money to try and get it, which is always the method that I've taken with this channel. If there's a way I can buy it outright instead of gambling away money to try and get the ships to review for you guys, I always do that. But here recently, moving on to talking about Wargaming's monetization schemes here, these ships, when they are available for outright purchase, they are, again, usually only available in an Admiral bundle. Which, yet again, sure, you're getting what you pay for with all the additional stuff you get in the Admiral bundle. But, man, I'd rather just pay the $77 and get the ship outright, instead of getting a 10-point commander that I'm probably going to wind up dismissing, because I have a bunch of 21-point commanders at this moment, and the credits and the signal flags and all that jazz. Which, again, yeah, sure, that stuff is nice if you don't have it, and you're like, I'm a little low on signal flags and stuff, I want to restock on that, and a little low on credits too. Yeah, sure, I mean, like, they have their places, but it being the only option to buy these ships outside of gambling, it's getting real old. Now, it wasn't always like this. There was this wonderful time a few years ago where when a premium ship came out, it just came out. Sure, it was in some event or some container where if you wanted to try your luck, you could potentially get it in one of those, but you could also just pop over to the premium shop and just buy the thing. You could buy it in a standalone bundle, and you're not going to believe there was an in-between bundle. You could buy the ship for whatever the ship was worth. If it's a tier 9, $77. You could buy the captain's bundle that had, I think it was like a 3-point or maybe a 10-point commander, and like a port slot and one or two other small things that was a little bit more expensive than the ship itself. Or, of course, you could buy the Admiral bundle that comes with a bajillion credits, a bajillion signal flags, a port slot, a 10-point commander, and all this stuff. You had options. But now it's gamble for it, give me $100+ for an Admiral bundle. Well, what? It's so frustrating. And I gotta imagine that, sure, there are whales that, of course, buy the whatever comes out. Regardless of what it is, they'll buy it. They'll buy the most expensive bundle. Yeah. And, again, they have to make money to keep the lights on. I get that. But, my God, I mean, I know from, like, my side of things, it's gotten so expensive that there's been more than a few premium ships that have come out. If you guys have noticed, I haven't reviewed them. It's not because I don't have the time. It's because I can't afford to keep buying all these bundles or gambling, and if it's only available in a gambling event, in order to get these ships. It's become too expensive. For someone that does this as a second job, has a Patreon, has ad revenue coming in, it's just like, I can't afford to throw, $100 and something away on Admiral bundles every time these ships come out. And like this upcoming patch, Blucher's coming out in the dockyard, and that's a ship I'm a little bit more interested in. And it's like, well, buy my way to the dockyard for the review, like that's going to cost a bit of money. I'm interested in the Valparaiso. If it was like $70, I could probably swing it and get it and review it and stuff. But it's probably, again, the Admiral bundle is probably $100 and something, where it's like, that's a little much, and it's tax season. I got to pay my quarterly taxes coming up here, and plus life is more expensive too. So it's things are tight. So it's just sad to see that the options we had in the past are gone. You buy the ship outright, buy in a mid-tier bundle with the Captain bundle, or if you want to splurge, you can get it in the Admiral bundle. Or sure, you want to try your luck, you can go try your luck in the event, see if you get it. So it's sad. It's sad in my opinion that this is the route Wargaming's taking. Again, I get they got to make money, they got to keep the lights on, but I mean, jeez, it's a lot of money for pixels. And I gotta imagine, there's other players that feel the same, like, dang, I used to buy just about every premium that comes out, but now I'm having to pick and choose because things are getting a little expensive. So I would think they gotta be getting less sales, or maybe they're trying to squeeze more money from less sales. They see, people, when they start getting a little more expensive and the events start getting a little more crazy, they're like, okay, well, we're just going to, just rely on the whales to keep spending money and such. So, yeah, it's certainly frustrating seeing where things are going, and I will give them credit for this. They did specify that they did tell us in the dev blog that the Suzuya and the Valparaiso would be available in Admiral bundles. So we knew they were going to be available in Admiral bundles when this update came out. Let me just double check, see how they worded it for these. Yeah. So they say the Suzuya and the Valparaiso will be available for direct purchase in Admiral bundles during this update. So again, I appreciate that they're backing off of pressing into the FOMO and being kind of vague about when the ships will be available. They also clarify that Valparaiso will be available in the next New Year's event in a similar fashion to the recent Steel Will event. So in a similar fashion to the recent Steel Will event, does that mean it's going to be available in the next Steel Will event? Maybe. Or is it going to be an event like the Steel Will, but maybe with coal or something? Maybe. I'm assuming right now, similar fashion to the recent Steel Will event. Steel Will event 2025 or 2026, whatever you want to call it. No, it was 2025, yeah. Well, yeah, the New Year's event, right? Okay, so at least they're letting us know that, hey, it's going to be available then in some fashion. I'd assume for some resource, since it's referencing the Steel Will event, so I will give them credit for that. They are letting us know that it's going to be, when it's going to be back and when it'll be available. I'm assuming too they'll toss it into the Tier 9 ship containers and stuff, and of course probably the Santa containers as well. So I'll give them kudos for that. But yeah, it's just really sad to see that this ship is only available in a container within a container, and a bundle, an Admiral bundle. So, Not a fan of it. I was hoping that maybe the event you can, get it for doubloons or something, or earn it in the event some way, shape, or form, and you might be able to earn a couple of the containers. And sure, if you get lucky, you might get it. But what happened to just releasing ships wargaming? Like, just put it in the shop. Let us buy it normally. If you want to buy the Captain and the Admiral bundle, we can do that. Those are pretty good days. It just appears that these days are gone, which is frustrating indeed. So guys, that's my 2 cents on the Valparaiso and the way she's being released in this update. You know what you guys think about her, and again, the prevalence of these Admiral bundles nowadays. Either Admiral bundle or Gamble. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday and a wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.